I think you have enough. Hello, folks. This for Maker replied. It said to the fish man, "You're a prince. We should all be working for you." He's brought us enough fish for a victory feast after this is over. He'll get noted. Tell bags noted. Not tell gay. Let's see. He brought us enough fish for a victory feast after this is over. We'll have to take it with us. Maker replied, "We'll have to, we won't be able to cook it here. Not with whatever Jade we leave alive. By being so vengeful. Not with whatever Jade we behind being after us. Or what we do to them. The Jade will be more eager to flee the island than us." Vanna retorted. Noted. "We'll have to take it with us. We won't be able to cook it here. Not with whatever Jade we leave alive being after us." Noted. Her voice having the bravado of a Royal Marine for a moment. Ah, yes, the Royal Marines. Gotta have them in the story eventually. I think I have, but not like as a unit, you know? Usually in fiction, they'll have like a guy who's from one of these elite units, and he'll be like the representation of all of them. Instead of there being a bunch of them together, you know, as a fighting force. Or if they are together as a fighting force, there'll be some background battle that's going on as the hero is storming the quarters of the bad guy, having his own duel, while everyone else is fighting this larger battle. I'm kind of of the view, you know, no one fights alone, so should probably have more of that Call of Duty kind of fighting, if I want to be realistic. I mean, nobody storms a castle by themselves, you know? Let's see. A shame this fish. I have a feeling this fish isn't going to be particularly tasty. Matchmaker noted. But just as well, we can probably only get here. Fish around here. Then I added. Telbay looked to Dominique. "Well, is this fish tasty, my dear?" Telbay asked. "It's scrumptious." Dominique replied instantly. "You've never eaten it. Never eaten it in your life, you liar." Matchmaker thought. It's scrumptious. Are we preparing it properly? Telbay asked. Is it bony? Is it so very mild flavored? I prefer spicier kind of fish. Meatier too. The Coldar people are fishermen and love their fish. Telbe seemed to get lost in her own head for a moment, listing off various species of fish that called the seas around the Baltic home. His home, including a number that Ashmaker had never heard of. Is it Ashmaker or Ashmaster? It was my aunt's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to her. She's like me, she prefers, like, just quiet evening at home. And who knows, maybe I'll do that for my own birthday. It's to hell with going out. Just get some takeout and eat it at home, maybe. Never been much for parties, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I'm the ultimate party pooper. Really, I could ruin the most joyous festivity, I'm sure, like the Grinch of partying. Let's see, a number that Ashmaker never heard of. He imagined they were the names of fish he knew in the language of the Telbe's people. There were about 20 different languages in the Balkans. Little dialects there. Some studier of languages. Ashmaker had the brains to be a professor of language. That's where he would want to go. Not to study. You are preparing it well, but be mindful of bones. Got me warned. These fish are bony. Also, you should lop out their heads. You should lop out their heads and take out their guts. They have guts. A little late for either. Ashmaker replied, where the whole fish were being cooked on the sticks. That was all the prep work that Ashmaker did. The heads seemed to cook faster than the bodies, for they were already mostly unrecognizable as heads. You could still tell one end of the fish from the other. Poor brainless creatures, except of course for the dolphin. He's a smart cookie. It's weird how you'll have like a lot of members of one species. Like most birds are bird brains. They are not very smart. But then you have like a parrot, and he can memorize words and even the meanings of words. And you'll have like and of course you'll have fish that are mostly dumb creatures and kind of insect-like actually. Maybe a step above insect, but below birds. And then you'll have a dolphin, which is a fish. Right, he's a mammal, isn't he? He lives under the sea. Still tell one end of the fish from the other. Could you cook them a little faster? Telbe asked Ashmaker. Maybe putting that power of yours to use? My power isn't used for that kind of cooking. Baker replied. Your power has many uses. Telbe countered with a smile. Little smile. It's fire. There is no element in nature with more uses than fire. What about water? Spray grass. Yes, I suppose so. Elbay replied. Let's see. Zisper sat down with the group then, just to provide some company. He sat a little too close to the fire. That was closest to him. Just to him. Moved him back a little. Careful, Zesper. You might end up cooking with the fish. Other fish. Benna warned. Whisper made a croaking, froggish sound that Benna assumed was something like right. Yep, that energy drink is sure hit the spot. I got 3 days out of that energy drink. Now that's pretty good. I used to only get 1 day out of them. Lately I've been drinking like half a can a day. Or less than that. I guess it was a third today. Zesper was not much of a conversationalist. Nobody looked at him as less than. It was hard to see him in a human light, but he was seen as close to human. He certainly wasn't treated like the team dog, like the team pet or some dog that got his belly scratched for good deeds, good work. As my dad, Zesper would mind a belly scratch or two. Let's see. Have I introduced everybody? Where is our robotic friend? Telbay asked. For there was one man unaccounted for, besides Downey. That was Wilka Wazak, known as Dr. Iron, or his robotic shell of a body. I'm here, Gulka reported from the cabin doorway. His voice electronic and carrying no emotion. Oko was not a robot, despite his appearance. He was human under the shell, though there wasn't much of his original self left. Most of it had been stripped away in the effort to save his life years ago. Goko was robotic shell was not like an armor suit. It was flat in. Let's see. It's not like an armored suit. It was dark gray metal all over, with very flexible limbs, humanoid in shape. with very flexible arms and legs. His hands were human-like, with 5 fingers, and his feet were like a pair of big metal boots. He never wore footwear over them. His head was mostly featureless, besides two glass eyes that were transparent. They did not glow, and they were actually a set of cameras that served as Golka's eyes. Two glass human-sized eyes. Golka had no visible mouth, ears, or facial features. He was about 213 centimeters tall and had a weight of, 200 kilograms? No, that's not right. What was the weight of my earlier friend? 150 kilograms sounds about right. He was much heavier than... It was quite heavy, but seemed much lighter when he moved. He moved quite like an ordinary man, though heavier, though he did like an ordinary man. He was agile enough in a shootout. He would not lose a foot race to a tortoise, as he was fond of saying. Golka was dressed in a Zetan army uniform. Just a second. Let's see. Except for the feet. Besides the boots, he was technically barefoot. Since it was just his metal boots, like feet, down there. His hands were not bare. His mechanical hands were not bare, but clad in gloves. Joker didn't need to wear clothes, since he couldn't feel hot or cold or anything. Really, he was mostly just a brain inside the suit. Inside the robot shell. That part of him still needed nourishment, but in the form of a feeding system that supplied nutrients. He also had a system. There was also something of a waste disposal system. A system that kept his brain from getting clogged up with poisons. His brain also his brain was the only part of him that got tired. tired and needed rest. Golka did not suffer from insomnia. Oh man. And for him, falling asleep was as easy as thinking, I'm going to sleep now. And then he would just be off in dreamland. Golka often dreamed of his his days as a ordinary man, when he was much more, when life was complicated, but not this complicated. Golka was a surgeon, was a young surgeon back 10 years earlier, and he was still ordinary. He was considered one of the best in the country. One day, he ran afoul of organized crime. Some old gangster had some heart trouble, and he demanded the best surgeon in the country work on him. Golka could not refuse. So he went with the gangsters and performed the surgery, heart surgery, on their boss. Unfortunately, the patient, despite Golka's, I almost call him Gurkha. I always picture Gurkhas as armored knights for some reason, I don't know. Because in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, there was an enemy called the Gurkha who had a sword that was a distinctive curved blade, and he was a knight for some reason. Not that I expected a human bad guy, you know. Dracula doesn't seem to like having humans work for him, at least in that series. I always thought Dracula having human servants was kind of interesting. It had a kind of a Quisling collaborator kind of thing, you know, like you sold out your own species. And it's funny because some of these people considered vampirism like a gift, and to most people, vampirism would be just like a terrible curse, not treated as something positive in the slightest. By Golka's best efforts, the old gangster died. Golka remembered opening the man up, studying the man's file, and finding that he was a lost cause. Trying to save his life would be like dragging the Titanic up from the Atlantic, all rusty, all rust and barnacle clad, and trying to find a way to get it to float and sail again. The old gangster was done. Was doomed. The old gangster was doomed. Okay, folks, signing off here. You can probably guess the rest of what happened to Golka after he failed the organized crime. Organized crime people, they're not the best people to disappoint. Anyway, see you later.